let's talk about fat loss, shall we? So basically, I'm gonna hit a button over here, and boom, production value. We're already set up, ready to go over here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm going to show you how things have been going for me personally in the last 3 months here. So let's go all the way back the last 6 months actually. So if you don't know, like many of our warriors here at Infitnite, I'm going to move my myself over here a little bit. If you don't know, I've been in a fat loss phase personally almost as long as some of you warriors have been in the fat loss phase inside of one of our realms like the Academy. And I started at around 195.4. And as you can see, fat loss is never linear, right? It's always going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. But I have to say, I have not been that diligent really when it comes to the tactics and the strategies for fat loss. For the most part, it was pretty indirect. A lot of what I'm gonna be sharing with you right now is things that you can do to get results just like this. And one of the things that I did every single day was train one of my combat skills, and that's walking. Literally walking. It is not just great for fat loss, but it's also great for longevity. It's also great for your mental health, basically navigating through stress, anxiety, even depression. You know, there's so many benefits to walking, and arguably, you know, a lot of people say that walking is the best exercise. In my opinion, walking is not necessarily exercise because your heart rate doesn't get to around that zone 1, zone 2 level, depending on the type of walking that you're doing. It's activity, in my opinion. And it's activity, in my personal opinion, I think it's the best activity that you can do consistently on a day-to-day basis. So basically what I did was I walked, and I started off pretty simple at around 8,000 steps. So basically I increased my steps from on average of about 3,000 steps to about 8,000. So that just goes to show you, when you don't intentionally try to get activity in, you're not going to move at all. Like, you'd be surprised how little activity you get if you don't consciously and intentionally try to move your body. So I was sitting at around 3,000 steps, and I'll actually show you. Let's actually pull up my step count because we have all this data in our mobile app. As you can see, I was averaging in some days, going back to December, 1,500 steps, 3,000 steps. Then I had these random days going up to 7K, 6K, realizing that, hey, I'm not moving at all. But as you can see, my baseline right around here is about 2,800 to around less than 3,000 steps, essentially. So then, as you can see, it basically jumped up. I bumped it up right when I started my fat loss program. Specifically, I was doing the Dragon program inside of Infitnite's dungeon, and I bumped it up to around 8K. So this is the power of just increasing your activity consistently. And as you can see, I rarely drop below 8K, but my baseline was around 10K. So around 10K steps for me was that sweet spot when it comes to having that consistent fat loss. So it's one of the most powerful skills that you can master. And again, you don't have to start where I started. A great way to get into more walking is to simply just walk more, right? If you're walking 0 minutes a day, walk 15 minutes, right? Walk 10 minutes, walk 30, whatever that may be. pick something and stick to it every single day. If you think you can't walk for a half hour, don't walk a half hour, right? Pick a time that you can stick to consistently, and this is what can happen, right? I consistently stuck to around that 10K for me. And if we go back here to biometrics, and we go back over to that 6-month mark, virtually a lot of that consistency made everything so much easier for me. So that's the first tactic when it comes to actually making some tangible progress for the month of June. Increase your step count to a number that you know that you can stick to consistently on a day-to-day basis. And just like I showed previously, I didn't stick to it every single day. A lot of my streaks got broken on some days, simply because there were some days when I just stopped focusing on walking, right? Or focusing on my step count. And of course, if it's in the back of my mind or I'm focusing on other things, the goals don't get accomplished. So set the goal to hit a step count and remind yourself throughout the day so that you can check how many steps you've had throughout the day and you can show up and make progress, or in infinite terms, gain some XP and complete your quests, right? So that's the first tactic when it comes to fat loss and getting some results in June. Up your step count, number one. Now, obviously fat loss isn't just about steps. It's not about movement. It's also about nutrition. So I'm going to show you a little bit about some of my nutrition data here. So let's dive into some of my nutrition graphs. So I'm going to show you, for example, for the month of May. So as you can see here, calories, as they say, calories are king, right? My calories have not basically changed for almost the whole entire fat loss process for me. And it might be shocking to you, right? Because how does that work? Well, for the most part, I've had a target calorie goal, and all I really focused on was, number one, hitting my protein intake. As you can see, when it comes to my protein intake, I've hit my goal. All the yellows means I hit my goal for the day. So for majority of the day-to-day basis, at least in the month of May, I hit my protein goal. Now, question you might have is why? Like, why do you want to hit your protein goal? Well, number one, when it comes to protein, you need it to not only maintain the muscle in your body, but to also build it as well. And there's a lot of warriors who can also go through what we call as body recomposition. What is body recomposition? Well, it's when you can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. And you can't do that if you're not eating enough protein. Another question you might have, how much protein should I be eating? Simple answer, try to get anywhere between 0.8 to around 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's a general rule of thumb. If you can't get that much protein, at least try to half your body weight in protein and have that in the first part of your day, and then try to get as much as you possibly can in the evening. So basically front loading your protein so that you can increase your overall amount of protein. Because a lot of people don't eat enough protein in the first half of their day. Most of their day is like caffeine, cereals, bagels, whatever that may be. You guys can let me know in the chat what you normally eat for breakfast or throughout the beginning part of your day. But most people don't get enough protein in the beginning part of their day, so the best way to make sure that you're getting enough protein is to have protein in the first meal of the day, and even more going into lunchtime. So that's another tactic. Increase your protein in the first part of your day. Huge game changer. game changer, especially for muscle retention and fat loss. Other than that, calorie-wise, it's been up and down, as you can see. For the most part, I did hit my calorie goals more often than none. Jasper says oatmeal and whey. That's a pretty standard. I used to have that damn near every day. Then I just got tired of the oatmeal. Yeah. But now it's like, you know, if you really want to know, like recently, Olia has been making some really good sandwiches. And we've been having a lot of turkey patties. And we've been making some homemade breakfast sandwiches, some like homemade McDonald's McGriddles, you know, but instead of all the processed shit, you know, we use turkey patties, and then we use like you know, some cheese, and we would buy like these special like English muffins. And anyway, that's what I've been having on the mornings, and it's been pretty damn good. Tierra says pancakes, waffles, and sausage. Nice. Big thing is, are you making protein pancakes, right? Are you using a scoop of protein, whether it's vanilla or chocolate protein, with your pancakes? Because that's a big opportunity to get some extra protein. I don't know about you, but I love protein pancakes. And even more than that, I love protein waffles. Protein waffles are my thing. I love it. But that, if you do that plus the sausage, you're guaranteeing at least like 40 grams of protein right there for your breakfast, which is awesome. So yeah, nutritionally, for the most part, pretty consistent. Again, I wasn't really integrating any type of nutritional strategies, nutritional tactics. It was really just consistency for protein and calories, and then also consistency with activity. So on top of this, I also was training and doing weight training, resistance training, 4 times a week. So 4 times a week, I was hitting the weights on top of my walking and things like that. So that consistency was really helped. And on top of that, I was also doing conditioning twice a week. And things that I was doing for conditioning was on Wednesdays, I would do distance running. And it started off really rough. Simply because in the beginning, I sucked at it really bad. It was terrible. I'm not a runner at all. I like sprinting. Like, I could sprint, give me a couple sprints, cool. Which is what I did on Saturdays. So that was one of my sessions, were sprints. But then I did distance running. And first, I'd say 2 or 3 sessions was horrific. I was feeling terrible. I mean, it was just terrible. It was just very difficult. But once I did it more and more, and did it very consistently every Wednesday, I noticed I was getting better. I noticed my times were getting faster. I noticed I wasn't getting so tired so quickly. And that's when I started to really love running and the challenge of running. Of course, with the proper preparation. I had to make sure I was warming up correctly. I had to make sure I was warming up extra correctly. I have to double emphasize that because, man, I had to really make sure I was recovering properly from my weight training, and then making sure I wasn't beating up my joints and my ligaments when it comes to running. But yeah, with proper preparation and with consistency, you can get better at anything. So that was super big. So that, on top of the nutritional changes and on top of that other activity, that's virtually all I really did. So to essentially recap here, when it comes to some tactics that you can apply for the month of June. Maybe you're applying it, maybe you're not. Maybe you're experienced, maybe you're not. Whatever that may be, you can apply the following. Number one, increase your step count. And not just increase it for a day, try to increase your step count average. So that would be your 7-day average. So if you were to kind of look at a watch or your phone or an app, anything that you might have to track your step count, basically what you want to do is you want to add up all of your steps for 7 days divided by 7, and then that's your step count average. Most apps like in your phone already do this for you, and they kind of let you know you basically average 5,000 steps, 6,000. So all the hard work is pretty much done if you kind of go into some of your apps and the statistics that they provide. But you want to increase that average. So if you average around 5K, you want to increase it to around 8K, right? Or from 8K to 10, from 15K to 17, whatever that is for you. That's my number one tactic to actually see the scale move for the month of June. Second tactic is to focus on protein. Make sure you are getting plenty of protein in the beginning part of your day so that you aren't trying to play catch up and so that you aren't losing muscle while you're trying to lose fat. That is so big. I'd say number 3 is to hit your calorie goal consistently. Reason why I have protein over your calories is often than not, if you are prioritizing protein primarily, that means you're not really eating all the extra junk when it comes to a lot of the extra carbs, a lot of the extra fats, a lot of the extra processed stuff. And you are basically primarily just eating protein, and that is going to give you a lot of room for calories, essentially. So if you over prioritize protein, you'll have a lot of calories remaining, and often than not, you'll notice that you'll be able to hit your calorie goal easier by focusing on protein first rather than trying to focus on eating less than your calories. So it's really just about focus and perspective shifting, and I think that's going to be a game changer